And this is the real reason, is this right here. This is why you got crushed, is because the House passed the $195 billion Ukraine package, Israel package, and also Taiwan. Taiwan is also in this as well, right?
And TikTok.
And the TikTok ban, which is all on the same weekend because they never work on the weekend unless it's something for themselves. It was a bipartisan weekend, right? Nobody opposed it except for like maybe a handful of people. All the Republicans, all the Democrats, the TikTok ban and the Ukraine aid package. Totally hands down, we're all for it. That's the uniparty right there. The uniparty said the package has to go through, so it went through.
Yep.
TikTok has to get banned because Facebook lobbied us enough money. We have to get it banned. And if you think that's not what this is about, they say this for national security issues, you're lying to yourself. The lobbies in the U.S., social media companies lobbied Congress to get a competitor banned.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're talking about this because it is part of this bill. But you got to look at everyone who voted against or voted for the TikTok ban. You got to look at what they have stock in. They have stock in Meta. Oh, they have a lot of stock in Meta, so if they can get rid of the competitor, then get the competitor Meta to buy TikTok. They just increase their revenue. So it has nothing to do with China. It has to do with money. And control. Don't let them fool you.
Okay, it might have a little bit to do with China, but that's not the bottom line. The bottom line is the money. Like it's 40%. The money issue. It's just it gives them justification, right? They needed justification to get rid of it, and scary Chinese overlords is what they want to scare people with, just like with everything else they do in the world, is they got to scare them into submission.
Yeah, I trust China with my information before I trust Congress with these FISA and FBI.
What's China going to do with my information?
Yeah, what are they going to do? This guy cooks.
It's like I've been multiple times. Like the only people who can spy on Americans is America.
Yeah. Right? Do you really think China cares about what I say on social media that goes against the establishment? China doesn't give a crap about that stuff, but our country does. And most of the time, we don't even speak anti-American. We speak anti-corruption. This is what we're against. I love my country.
We're anti-corruption people.
We're anti-corruption. We're not anti-American, FBI, if you're watching. We're not anti-American. We're pro-American. We're just anti-corruption. And you guys are part of the J. Edgar Hoover FBI, and you're very corrupt. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The Hoovers and the Whovilles are running the show.
Yeah, that's right.
So the U.S. House of Representatives on Sunday, with a broad bipartisan support, passed a $95 billion legislative package providing security assistance to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. It's a $95 billion package, which includes $60 billion to address the conflict in Ukraine, $23 billion to replenish U.S. weapons. Oh, yay! So $23 billion went to the lobbyists.
Yep.
See this right here? That's what it's really about. It's that $23 billion that just went to Lockheed Martin,
and
or to any of the other defense contractors.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Coy, because you'll hear a lot of times, especially with these smooth brain TikTok creators, these leftists that like to talk about this. They're saying they're only sending our old surplus weapons, right? Okay, let's give them that. They're sending old surplus stuff that we don't really use.
Where's the new weapons?
Ding, 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 ding. So now they have to replenish that stock, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who gets the money to put all that stuff back in there? The military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
Dollars.
Exactly. So they're replenishing U.S. weapons, which they sent over because they needed dadding Boeing and Lockheed Martin and all the other guys in that outlet letter soup of freaking defense contractors needed an influx of cash because they're going broke because of peacetime. We needed a war, so here we go. Now we're just giving out all this money. It's insane to me that they will give out everything underneath the sun to everybody else except the U.S. people. Like, this is the thing that should unite us as like centrists, and especially like us on the right side and the left side. Is like the U.S. government is giving away your tax dollars to people who don't care about you.
That's right.
Right. They say that the U.S. government is giving them that money. It's like, no, that's your money. That's the taxpayers' money. There was a really great video I saw the other day where it's like, okay, you paid 62 years in taxes. Guess where all that money went? It's like, okay, what did I pay in taxes for? 3 Javelin missiles, and we shot them at goats.
That's right.
That's what you paid for all your life, was 3 Javelin missiles.
People just don't get it. They virtue signaling, caring about all these other countries. We should send money. We should send money. You get these anti-American leftists, virtue signaling progressives who are anti-American because they've been taught that America is a colonial state. We're what's the term they use? We're colonials. What are they? Colonizers. They've been brainwashed to think that we're colonizers, and they hate colonizers. So it's okay to send our money away to destroy the country they think is full of colonizers. While we have citizens struggling to buy food, groceries, and that same stuff, we all know what it is, but they're happy to send money over here. You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me. Take care of your home first before you try to take care of someone else's home. Because as Coy stated, these people don't care about us. If something happened in America right now, those countries that we send money to would turn a blind eye to anything that happened over here. They wouldn't help us, and they know it.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. That's one of the topics.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's tomorrow, right? We're talking on Savage Patriot about the TikTok ban.
Yeah, so we'll discuss that.
But for now, here's the real reason is you have a bunch of people like this who are waving Ukrainian flags in the Congress after the bill passed. Look how supportive we are. Not a single U.S. flag, just a bunch of Ukrainian flags of a foreign power in our Congress.
Now,
amazing.
It's our Congress, but I will say this. I don't believe D.C. to be part of America. Technically, I don't believe it to be. That's my opinion, my belief. I believe it's part of the corporation, and there's a big difference between a corporation and a republic. So I think this is why they thought. This is why they thought like that. Well, we're the corporation, so we're not going to get in trouble under the U.S. flag code because for the corporation, that flag code doesn't apply to us. It only applies to the republic. I don't know. That's just my conspiracy brain thinking, man. I don't know. I just think outside the box.
Well, here, I'll give you one more for your conspiracy brain. Here's another one. It's coming from Muse. Corruption. U.S. Rep. Keating handed Zelensky a list of members of Congress who voted for the $61 billion payment to Ukraine. Why would the president of a foreign power need a list of names of politicians who sent him billions?
And also, Bill Keating from Massachusetts. Interesting. And I have something that you're really going to like.
Yeah.
This is the official tally of the vote.
Yes, I see.
For the supplemental aid.
Yes.
And look at that vote. 73%.
Yes. Thank you so much. 73.
If you want to see where your money's going and what the corruption looks like, it's this picture right here.
That's a good.
And people, and we're talking about this right now, Coy. This isn't the first time we sent billions. We all know this. This isn't going to end. You think this one, they'll do another vote in, 60 to 90 days, the next quarter, and they'll vote on some more money. And they'll just keep sending money out to other countries. As they send money, raises our deficit and our debt and everything else. And then in order to counter that raise on products, what else has to go up? It affects inflation. So the more they send out, the more it affects us here. Then the price of food goes up, the price of gas goes up, the price of everything goes up because they need that money to counter what they're giving. But they don't tell the American people that. You got the monkeys on the left wing, progressives, and some of them on the right that clap for this stuff.
This should be a meme right here. Just this right here. It's like when you both get your paychecks on the same day.
Yeah. It's embarrassing.
That's what that is, right? He's happy. Everybody's getting their paychecks, right? Everybody's getting paid.
You saw that video of that chick who was like, "I'm in Ukraine. This is my car. I'm from Ukraine. This is my church."
I saw that one, yeah.
And this guy was like, "I'm from America." Who was that? Was my buddy, Blackbeard. He was like, "I'm from America. This is our church." And he showed a burning church. He goes, "I'm from America. This is our car." And he showed a bunch of burning cars from, the Summer of Love. Yep. It's just like these people need to wake up because I'm telling you, it's going to get to the point if they keep doing this, sending our money to all these fake wars, these man-made war, these fake wars. Yeah. So we're not going to be able to afford a loaf of bread at all. But that's what they want.
Well, but this is what happens because people keep saying this, like nobody's in charge. The only people who are in charge are the administrative state. You have to listen to this clip right here and how the FBI targets people.
For too long to be able to clear those matters up.
May I say one little reported facet of my case is one of the federal agents involved in one of the operations against me said that they intended to plant child porn in my husband's computer. This is the FBI. There's been a case that's currently in litigation, unrelated, in which an FBI agent has testified that they did that. They have done that. It was not accomplished in my case. I guess the curtain was drawn on that facet of the operation prior to them doing it. But imagine how you ever get out of that. They knew we had a young daughter at home and had allegedly conspired to do that.
For too long.
So they keep you under the rope and they keep you under control in order to keep you compliant. So like I said before, you thought you were special when they allowed you to riot in 2020. You were not. You were the same as the rest of us.
And
you were exactly the same.
And I'm glad James O'Keefe exposed them, but a lot of these people still won't believe it, and it just goes to show that
are terrible.
It goes to show that the minute you speak up, you speak out, you go against the war machine, the establishment, you speak out in distaste for anything they're doing. It's that easy for them to, let's set bro up, put a little bit of kitty stuff on his computer, and then we'll just show up at his house. Yeah. You know, and that's how easy it is for these people to ruin people's lives, to shut them up, because they want us to toe the line. They want us to just be nice, obedient citizens who toe the line and do exactly what they say. Go to work every day, make that slave money. They take their per cut and they give us kibbles and bits, and just shut up and do it again the next day. Ain't gonna happen.
So Lynn's right. I wonder how the House Speaker got compromised. They took him in the back room and they showed him pictures.
That's right.
That's what they did. I don't know what those pictures were. It could be anything from JFK to Trump, or it could just be that we have something on you and you do what we say.
And we created something. Yep.
Because they took him into the skiff where no electronics are allowed. So it's a very safe environment. And they said, here's what we would like from you. And here's what happens if you don't.
Exactly.
And if anybody thinks that's not what happened, you're kidding yourselves. It's a mafia in that town.
And
an absolute mafia in that town.
And here's another way to blackmail these political leaders. All of them have government phones. Government controls all that. They track all your whatever information you're taking into that phone. How hard would it be for them to put something like kitty porn on one of those government phones and say,
or your computer or anything,
or your computer, your government computer, and say, this is what we can do to you if you don't. And then once it's out, you have to defend yourself against these allegations. You have to defend yourself, but it's already out there. Now you're going to be known as this. It doesn't matter. Okay, okay, please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. I'll vote for this. Good. Yeah. Because the elected officials, like Coy stated earlier, aren't in charge. They're not in charge. FBI, CIA, all these Black Rocks, all these other people that are behind the scenes are in charge because they have the ability to blackmail them all. So they're going to always get what they want.
You gave power to the administrative state, and they took control. Like that's exactly what happened. The bureaucrats are in charge, right? That's the same thing that happened to the emperor in China, right? Eventually, all the eunuchs were in charge. The emperor had no power. It was all the bureaucrats underneath him that were controlling everything.
Yep.
He was just a figurehead. That's what the president of the United States is right now. It's just a figurehead. You think Biden is running the show?
No.
You were silly if you believe that.
And that's already been proven. You know, Biden's chief of staff has more power than he does. Hillary Clinton still has a bunch of staff that works in the White House. She contacts them. Obama contacts them. Yep. And they all contact all this staff that they had from past times that are controlling what's happening. And the chief of staff is the main one. So
how much you want to bet that it's Hillary and Obama that are causing so much of the issue because they're fighting each other, right? So they have their own factions, each in the White House, right? They're really in control. But all the contradictory stuff that we're facing in the United States that's happening, and the chaos that's happening, is because they've been fighting the entire time, and now we have to face the repercussions of it. But here's a Tucker interview with Rogan that I thought was pretty interesting, and how he's saying the exact same thing we're saying, except that he has more knowledge because he knows people. And one of the things he says at the end is really crazy.
Members of Congress are terrified of the intel agencies. I'm not guessing at that. They've told me that, including people on the Intel Committee, including people who run the Intel Committee, the people whose job it is to oversee and keep in line these enormous, secretive agencies whose budgets we can't even know. They're black budgets. They're the parents. The agencies are the children. They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy. Democracy is a really simple system, even representative democracy like ours. The people rule. They do so through elections. They express their preference through voting. They send their people to the capital city to run the government on their behalf. Whenever you have unelected,
which is what I said, it hasn't been that way since they killed Kennedy.
That's
and
right.
if anybody believes that Kennedy wasn't killed by the CIA, you're stupid.
Yeah,
at
you
this
are.
point.
At this point, definitely are.
I mean, we know that the U.S. intel agencies killed Kennedy.
Yep,
It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't a power. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. He might have been a puppet for it, but he wasn't the one responsible for the death. Ultimately, for the death, it wasn't a lone wolf situation.
No.
people who are not accountable to anyone making the biggest decisions, you don't have a democracy. You have something else, another system. I would call it a tyranny or whatever you want to call it. It's not a democracy. So that's like super obvious. It's playing out in front of everyone and no one cares and no one does anything about it. And I think the reason is because they're threatened. And if you look at the committee chairmen who allow this shit to happen year after year, they're all, and I don't know, people say, oh, they're compromised or being blackmailed or whatever. I don't have evidence of that, but I know them and they all have things to hide. I know that for a fact. And so it's not a stretch of imagination to imagine that, you know, some committee chairman who's allowing warrantless spying on Americans to continue or whatever abuse they're allowing, knowing fully or hiding the truth about UAPs, ignoring the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023. Like, why are they doing that? It's not impossible to imagine that some guy with a drinking problem or a weird sex life, and that's very common up there, that's why they're doing it.
I mean, we had some aides that were doing sexual things and recording it in the Senate. So like, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, hell, like you had Marilyn Monroe being snuck into the White House for Kennedy. So
I mean, yeah, Monica Lewinsky, Marilyn Monroe. I mean, they do some weird stuff up there.
There's a lot of things weird going on up in that place
because they don't want to be exposed. I don't have evidence of that. I don't have proof of that.
Right.
But that's not a crazy thing to assume that could be happening. And I said to somebody, a very powerful person, the other day in a conversation in my kitchen, an elected official, holds a really senior position, a very famous person. I was going crazy. I was so mad about all this stuff and about the warrantless spying and about the funding for these insane wars. And I said to the guy who serves in one of the legislative bodies, I got so mad my dogs were afraid. They're like, well, why are you yelling? Because I don't yell at home. But I was like, all these people are controlled. They're all, you know, got weird sex lives and all these things are hiding and they're being blackmailed by the intel agencies. And he said, and I'm quoting, I know. That's
the scary thing is that he knows.
Yep. And they all know.
Everybody knows.
And they're terrified of what's going to happen. You know, and this is one reason why they hated Donald Trump, because they had nothing on him. He's not corruptible. And this has been said many times. They've tried, but they knew they couldn't do it. So they was like, well, we can't corrupt him to do what we want. So we're just going to destroy his character.
That's exactly what's happened, is that if they legitimately had anything on Trump that wouldn't compromise them at the same time, they would have already used it. But they've had to make things up in order to make it work.
Exactly. And that's why nothing.
They made up crimes in order to get him arrested. That's how it is.
Nothing's sticking. You notice nothing is really sticking. The left keeps talking about, I can't wait to see him behind bars. When? Because nothing that you guys are throwing at him is sticking. It's all made up. And it's been proven. And if you guys just look at historically, the things that have happened when the CIA and all these three-letter agencies get involved, they're there to corrupt or coerce. And if you don't listen, they will ruin your life. They will ruin your life. And so they control us through fear, because they're just behind the scenes. They're like ghosts. You don't see them. They can easily tap into our equipment with the FISA warrant and all this HDMI stuff to where they can plug into your TVs and all your stuff now. Throw something in your system that you have no idea is there. Next thing you know, they did, we just did a FISA warrant on your device and we found this in there. What? I didn't put that in there. Because if they can check your computer, they can put stuff in your computer. Just know that. Anything they want to shut you up.
And just so you know, anything that has a microphone and a camera is being listened to at all times.
All time. That's why I don't give a fuck.
I am who I am. I'm in the same way.
I live a good life. I don't care. Don't scare me.